All right. Hello, everyone. This is WVU Walk with a Future Doc. Thank you all for coming. My name is Michael Sutton. I'm a first-year medical student here at WVU. Really excited to be joined today by our speaker, Judy Siebart, registered dietitian. Before I hand it off to her, though, there are a few announcements that I'd like to make. So first of all, you all should have received a notification that this meeting is being recorded. Specifically, we only use the audio. We only keep the audio, but those audio recordings, they get uploaded to our YouTube page, WVU Walk with a Future Doc, once this is over. And we also have a Facebook page, WVU Walk with a Future Doc. So visit us on Facebook and you'll be able to get some information about our upcoming walks. So with that out of the way, I'd like to introduce Judy Simard. Judy's a registered dietitian here at WVU in Morgantown, Department of Family Medicine, and she'll be speaking today about the importance of mindful eating. So, of course, always an important topic, but I think especially at this time of the year, right, with the holidays coming up, Thanksgiving coming up in a few weeks, and Christmas and New Year's not long after that. And I think it's important for everyone to enjoy both these holidays. We all deserve to have some time off and to relax and loosen up a bit. But at the same time, they bring us unique challenges where we're eating a lot more than we usually do, and we also eat different types of food than we usually do. And so, I think really the key issue here is how can we enjoy ourselves on this time off, but at the same time not taking it too far. And that's really the crux of the topic that we have today. So, yeah, with that out of the way, Judy, I'll hand off to you.
Thanks, Michael. That was nicely put. So what I want you to take away from what he said is we do want to enjoy ourselves. All right. We are not the food police. We're not going to ruin the holidays for anybody. I don't want you to restrict, deprive. I don't want any weirdness over the holiday foods. But the real challenge is how can we enjoy ourselves when there's so many opportunities nowadays to overindulge. Before, way back in the day, you'd have a great meal at Thanksgiving and then a great meal at Christmas. But now, every time you turn around, basically, from Halloween to January 2nd, there are numerous opportunities to overeat with holiday parties, lots of social gatherings. Just walking by a candy dish at work, it gets a little bit difficult. And that's why I think it's a good time before Thanksgiving hits to develop some strategies. And those strategies is simply something we can do our entire life, every day. And that's practice mindful, or what we call intuitive eating. All right. And down in a few minutes, I'll lead you through a mindful practice. But I want everybody listening to me today to think about a very good memory of food. So what was your good memory of food? And I don't know if you could unmute and somebody could share a great memory of food. There's got to be some Italians out there.
I can answer that, Judy. This is Mia. Thanksgiving is definitely my favorite holiday, and we have the Thanksgiving food, but we also have Italian food.
Everybody's being quiet, but basically, we have really good memories of family. It's extension of love, a grandmother cooking an old recipe, or getting together on a holiday and having your favorite excellent Y, and Z. So to say that, I get to, yes.
Sorry, everybody, bear with us. I'm not sure if she has too great of service where she is. So I texted Judy to see what's going on. So I have a lot of people saying that they can't hear her and I can't hear her as well. So
I just asked her to
hopefully
turn
we can get her
around.
back. Yeah.
Please turn around.
Okay, cool.
So if you're there, Judy, turn around.
I'm there. I did turn around.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Your video came back too. And we
Okay,
lost your
good.
video as well.
Okay, I turned around. I was like running back. I did this yesterday with the dogs and it worked fine, just FYI.
Okay.
But
Judy,
anyway.
go back. Can you go back to the question that you asked about people having memories of food? I think that's where we lost you.
Okay, great. So I want, we think, oh, food just nourishes us, but that's crazy. We have so many emotional connections to food. Even going back a millennium, we hunted and gathered, we sat and ate together. So to think that food is just strictly to nourish the body, it is not simply true. And all I'm asking is if you guys think back to what a really good memory of food. And if you could unmute and tell me. And I think Mia, yours was Italian food, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday. And when we have Thanksgiving, we have the turkey, we have the stuffing, but we also have to have spaghetti. So there's the Italian part of it too.
That's my memory too. That's my memory too. How about anybody else have a very good memory of food? Like my grandmother made me, or I remember my mom making for my birthday or whatever.
When I graduated college, my grandmother said that she was making my favorite meal when I came home. And she made an entire Thanksgiving spread, which usually takes her days. So that was really special.
Yes, it's an extension of love. It really is. And I want to keep fostering those good memories of food, but somehow through messages of body imaging and dieting, we start to lose connection with that, and we start to put maybe some judgment on foods where we shouldn't. So how do we kind of get back to basics and get back to the joy of eating without overindulging or feeling miserable or regret or all those negative feelings associated with it? We can start by practicing mindful eating. And the more you practice something, the better you get at it. So if you're going to say, I'm going to eat mindfully on Thanksgiving, and you didn't practice prior to that, chances are it's not going to go as well. So I want in every meal, every snack's an opportunity to practice mindful eating. Now, mindful eating is just being present in the moment. All right. It's not, I do this all the time. I drive home from Morgantown and I'll get home with actually no memory of driving home. Little concerning, isn't it, if you're on the roads with me? But I'm not present. I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about dinner. Or I'm just not present in the moment. And people can do that with eating. They ate this meal and it wasn't even satisfying because they were worried about something that happened at work or worried about something that's coming up or distracted by the internet or whatever. So mindful eating is just being present in the moment, non-judgmentally. Okay, I don't want anybody to put negative emotions on the food, like, this is going to make me gain weight. This just blew my diet. I just want you to eat presently in the moment. So what you could do is practice this at different meals, and it is turn off the distractions. Sit at a table where you're not standing or walking around. And first, well, let's just pretend you could do this with a grape or an apple. Let's just pretend you have an apple in front of you. Now, I want you to eat this apple mindfully. So you notice the apple, you notice the color, if it has a stem or not. You notice the smell. You think, oh, this apple, I wonder where it came from. Usually the state of Washington. You bite into the apple, you notice the crunch, you notice the sweetness. You chew it at least 15 times, and then you swallow the apple and you pause. That, I don't think we're going to eat apples every day like that, but you could start to practice that. And what happens is everybody wants the practice I'm going to give you, you're going to enjoy your food more, and you may probably eat less. Because if you start to slow the pace of eating and practice being present in the moment, you're more in tune with the feelings. Now, sometimes over the holidays, there's a lot of stress. There could be a lot of stress at the table, and we could be eating for emotional reasons. Because let's face it, food does kind of light up our brain. The way alcohol or drugs can light up our brain. So we want to maybe just be aware of that. Again, non-judgment. When you're eating this apple, you're going to start to think, oh, maybe, I should do this, or thoughts come and go. That's what the mind does. You want it like a conveyor belt. The thoughts just come and they go and go back to the mindful eating. You could practice mindfulness for 2 minutes now with just breathing or walking. Notice how your heel, then toe, heel, then toe. Do that for 2 minutes. Or don't even try to control your breath. Just notice the ins and outs. That's just bringing in the awareness to the present. So, we want to start this practice way ahead before the holidays hit. And then when the holidays hit, I want you to maybe have sort of a plan in mind, because as much as I want you to enjoy it, I don't want it to be a slide of negating all the good you've done throughout the year from Halloween to after Christmas. Because, we work hard at feeding ourselves well and our families well. And I don't want all or nothing, all bets are off. So you do want to have some plan ahead. And that, I have a good plan, I think. First of all, it does come down to portion size, and the portions tend to get larger and larger, and we eat to the point of uncomfortableness. So, and we never really feel good about that, right? So maybe consider this rule. You could eat whatever you want. You could eat as much as you want. I just want you to eat size up. Oh, that's worth it. I want some of this, that. Figure out what you want to eat, get it, eat it maybe on a smaller plate, maybe a little bit less portions, always guaranteeing that you're going to get more to eat. But here's the only thing I want you to do. After you've had the first plate, take a break, 10 to 15, 20 minutes. I want you to drink water. I want you to converse. I want you to enjoy the company. If indeed you are still hungry and you desire more of X, Y, and Z, eat it. All right, so we're going to slow the pace of eating. We're going to take a break, put down the fork and knife, converse, be mindful, chew your food well. Chewing the food is the first part of digestion. So it really helps with indigestion and gas and bloating and all the problems. If you chew the food well, take sips of water in between, enjoy the company, enjoy the food, savor your food, and then take a break and then have more. You could also, even after, like let's say Thanksgiving meal, and pumpkin pie is my favorite pie, maybe exercise or maybe go out for a walk. I don't want you to get into the mindset like, oh, I ate so much, I'm going to go run for an hour. I'm going to go punish myself for an hour. That's not fun either. But why not take the dog and the family out for a walk or do some type of activity? Because let's face it, chances are everybody listening to me is going to have more food than they typically have at that meal. So we are designed to move. Humans are hardwired to move and burn off the sugar. So why not burn off the sugar and go for a walk? And as if you prepare the meals, you could always start a new tradition. And that new tradition, maybe your family loves roasted vegetables, but that's not the typical thing you have. Maybe it's a green bean casserole or whatever. Here's something I'm trying this year, roasted vegetables. I'm not telling you, if you like mashed potatoes with cream, have at it, but there are ways, to make it. I think I might have lost you guys. Can you hear me?
You're still
Yes,
there.
we can.
Oh, okay, because my screen went blank. I started to panic. Okay, so we can always alter the recipes a little bit. You can or cannot do it. Or you want to keep the tradition the same, that's fine too. I will tell you quite honestly, try this the next time. Usually the first 2 or 3 bites of a dessert are fabulous. And then after that, they're okay. And then after that, as my daughter said, oh, that was hard to put away. I said, why would you keep eating it if it was like a struggle? So maybe, just a couple bites and pause. And that's the mindful eating. I always do a practice. Now, I was talking about mindfulness. This practice has gone back typically thousands of years, and it was associated with religions, Buddhist or Christianity. But I work at Head Start. I do some consulting at Head Start. Of course, it's a federally funded program, and we couldn't have prayer. But we do something kind of neat, and I love it. When we bring the food out to the kids, we do a gratitude. We thank the cook. We thank the truck driver that got the apples there. We just thank everybody. And you know what? It calms the table down. It focuses. It's a mindful practice. And maybe you could do a gratitude practice, or you could set an intention that week. All right, this week I'm going to practice gratitude, or this week I'm going to focus on love and acceptance or whatever. And if you find yourself going down the rabbit hole, something stressful, the brain fires up, just go back to your intention and sit there and mindfully breathe until you can refocus. And it could just be your intentions to enjoy the meal or enjoy the company or whatever. So there's lots of little things we could do. And basically, I don't want to ruin holidays for anyone, of course. I want you to enjoy the food, but just mindfully enjoy it. That's all. Just enjoy the heck out of it. Maybe if indeed it was sort of a washout, I don't want like the pendulum to swing one way, like total restriction to, oh, screw it, I'll eat whatever I want. So we have to find a happy medium, and that's with love and acceptance and non-judgmental eating. All right. It's neither good nor bad. There was something I wanted to say about that too. Well, so here's the thing, if you passed up on your grandmother's favorite apple pie that she makes, you would feel deprived. And maybe at the office, you're going to eat some dried out fudge or something. So if you deprive yourself, that usually backfires. If you do what I did many times, I'd say, oh, I'm going to have this big meal. I'm not going to eat all day. Well, guess what happens? If you show up starving, you're going to eat, let's say, 1,800 calories at one sitting. However, if you had spaced it out through the day, had a sensible lunch or maybe a little bit smaller, you wouldn't have made such poor choices or overate to the point of comfortableness. So what I'm going to ask you to do, again, is set an intention, practice mindfulness, practice. Really size up the meal, figure out what's worth it, enjoy every bite of it. Before seconds, take a pause. Maybe plan in some activity to help walk down the blood sugars or walk off some extra calories, and focus on not only the food, but the family, that maybe now this year we're able to get together, which I just got an email from my sister. She's coming in. We haven't been together in about 18 months. So let's just enjoy the company, the food. If indeed there's alcohol, you have to be a little bit careful, because alcohol will lower your inhibitions for more food. So maybe have a drink of wine and then a drink of water, and then a drink of wine and a drink of water. And then I don't know. I probably should have written up a better ending, but here's what I mean it from the heart. I want you to enjoy every bite of the holidays. If indeed you did gain a pound or two, nothing drastic, we'll get back to basics. You always have get back to basics and get back to a routine. Ideally, you want to stay on a routine during the holidays, because that's when, you don't eat and then you eat a whole lot. If you could keep a routine, that would be great with sleeping, with eating. But if the stress or something knocks you off the mark, or all the social commitments and the family commitments, you can always get back to basics the day after or the day after. If there's a lot of leftovers, if you did the cooking, send the leftovers home. And then just, again, the very next day or week or Monday, every day is a new day, to tell you the truth. We start diets on Monday. It makes sense. It's the beginning of the week. As Monday goes, so goes the week. But every day, every meal is a new opportunity to practice mindfulness, to get back to basics and really savor your food in a non-judgmental way. So I don't know how long I talked, but I am hoping I'm hoping I didn't ruin the holidays for you. I really, truly want you to enjoy food. I want you to make your favorite recipe. I think an open palate's an open mind. You could try some different things. You could make recipes healthier or more loaded with vegetables. If I told you, oh, just eat vegetables and dip, I mean, wouldn't you feel kind of deprived if there was a pumpkin pie sitting there that you wanted all year? So make it work. Make it work for you and your family. And try not to always assess your hunger. Say, am I full? I really don't want to be uncomfortably full, so I'm going to stop now and see. So be gentle on yourself. Give yourself lots of pause. And overall, enjoy the holidays. What do you think, Mia? Was that good?
I think that was perfect. I think that was perfect, Judy. Okay. And I think that got me personally just excited for the holidays, to take a break from busy lives of work and spend time with family. I'm very excited for that. So thanks for kicking off November for us. We are now going to open it up for questions. So if you have a question for Judy, or would like to spark a discussion here, you are free to send your question or conversation in the chat. You can send it to me personally. My name is Mia, and I'm a third-year medical student at WVU. Or you can send the message to everybody, and I'll make sure that your question is read out loud. Or you can go ahead and just unmute yourself, and we can keep the conversation going with Judy. So thanks everyone for joining us today. We're so happy to see you. I hope you're motivated to get out and keep moving this Saturday morning. So Judy, I can start you off with a question. So as far as mindful eating, there's different ways people set the table for Thanksgiving. So some people do it family style and some people do it buffet style. So do you have any tips for how to be mindful when, the food at family style is just right in front of you, compared to buffet style when there's just so much food right in front of you?
Okay, so there's pluses and minuses to both. Ideally, buffet style, you kind of size up the buffet. You think, oh, I'm not going to fill up on these mashed potatoes because I want the sweet potatoes. Or, you kind of eye it up first and then you go all in. All right. Now, but there's something to be said for buffet style because it's at the buffet. It's not sitting right at the table where you have easy access. We used to serve, prior to COVID, family style at Head Start because nobody serves family style anymore. It's like I know Tria does, so no insult, but nobody quilts anymore. Like my grandmother quilted, but a lot of young people don't quilt. So we wanted to do family style where you could pass around the food and you're in control of how much you take. However, there's a visual. That food's always right there in front of you. So there's pluses or minuses to both, and whatever works in your family. If there's too many things at the table, you have a buffet or keep it on the stove. Anything and everything goes. But ideally, if you're at a party and there's a buffet, it would probably behoove you to stand furthest away, so you're not just standing there mindlessly eating. But either style is fine, absolutely fine. Both pluses and minuses, but you make it work with either style. But that was a very good question.
So this is Taylor. I'm a first year medical student, and I had a question. So I was wondering if you had any advice on how to encourage your friends or like family to also try to eat mindfully if you kind of hear them talking negatively around the dinner table.
Yeah. So, boy, I started this with my daughter when she was young. When I picked her up from school, she'd say, "Oh, something bad happened," or something, and I said, "Oh, tell me something good." And as corny as that sounds, you could just say, sort of a group practice. What was your favorite food, or what's your favorite memory? Or, I do a thing, Taylor, where I say, what's your least favorite memory of food? And I get more of a response than the favorite. It's sort of like post-traumatic stress. Oh, I was made to eat this, or I had to sit at the table, or blah, blah, blah. So somehow that gets imprinted on our brain as well or better than our favorite memories. So we have between 30 and 50,000 thoughts a day. And guess what? Most of them are negative. Isn't that horrible? So, the mind isn't easily to control or train, but you could always do conversation starters with something positive. And tell me what you liked about this meal, or tell me, just keep it on the sunny side. I know that sounds like, I don't know, I'm a Pollyanna type person, but I feel kind of on a visceral level, when you think, oh, this food's terrible, it's going to make me gain weight, I almost think it does. Or if you could just say, was that good? I think without judgment, the body's able to handle it better, probably because you're not overeating. When you have guilt, you kind of start to circle the drain and think, and then you eat for all kind of negative emotions. So I would use conversation starters, what you're grateful for, and just focus on more positive interactions about food and nourishment and family. I hope that answered it, Taylor.
Yes, that was great.
Okay, cool.
Hi, this is Lindsay. I'm a third year med student. I'm kind of going to piggyback off of Taylor's question and ask kind of, how do we bring these tips of mindfulness eating up to our family without seeming kind of judgmental, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And again, it's all positive. And I might have told you guys this story. They were doing a study on dog training, and some dog trainers were fabulous and some dog trainers were good. And the difference was the amount of positive reinforcement. Why I bring that up? We're training a new puppy, and you just have to be positive. So, I would use all your skills to steer everything away. And there's a lot of emotion and stress and things that bubble to the surface. I would just say nothing but positive comments. And it's not toxic positivity, like, something terrible happened and you're seeing this, just especially when it comes to food. Again, just being grateful. It doesn't have to be a prayer. It's just a practice of gratitude, and focus on, I don't know, balance. It's all about balance. If there's a fudge recipe you love and you're going to eat peanut butter fudge, it could almost be ritualistic, like, oh, just get this peanut butter fudge, a nice hot cup of tea, and enjoy every bite of it. So it has to be food. When you start to assign good, bad, and connotations for food, it morphs into something it wasn't intended. And we just, maybe food is a love language, and that's sort of like how Italians are. I want to have this big spread, but I don't want to like cajole or force anybody to eat that. Like, oh, you didn't try my this or whatever, you don't want to be a food pusher. So you just keep it, don't, especially with kids, you don't let buttons being pushed. They don't eat it, fine. They eat it, fine. It's neither here nor there. If they don't like it, or they won't eat anything, you get more to eat later. No, but it's just really, that's a practice where you just be nothing but positive about the food. And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes the meal doesn't go as well as you thought, and you just try again with the next one.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wait, I think you bring up a really interesting point about like with children and them not liking foods. I was personally a very picky eater when I was little, and my mom was always very understanding of it. But when I went to friends' houses, they were like, they didn't understand it as much and they would push food on me. And I was just curious how you would approach mindful eating with children. I think you started to touch on it, but I find that to be really interesting.
Yeah, I think we have our most power there. I've raised 3 kids. So the first one ate anything. And I thought, there's nothing to this. I don't know what the moms were talking. And then Tori came along. And then I know what they're talking about. So, and Tori to this day will not touch a tomato. There's foods you don't like, I'm sure. There's foods I don't like. Could you imagine being forced to eat that food? It's awful. So kids are neophobic. That means they're naturally afraid of new foods or new stuff. So you just expose it. If they see the adult, the primary caregiver, eating it, if it's more chances after 8, 9, 10 exposures, they eat it. But it doesn't matter. And they may never eat it. You don't have control over that. You can't bribe, you can't reward, you can't punish. It's there for the offering. If they eat it, fine. If not, fine. And that should be the rule. You got to hang loose. What used to get me is they would eat it fine one day and the next day they wouldn't. I'd be making spaghetti sauce. Okay, who today doesn't like onions? Let me know now because I'm making the sauce. And keep it your sense of humor, dear God. And don't go head to head with a toddler, because if you say you're going to sit there until you eat that, just dig in, because you could be there all night. So I'm not going to go head to head with a toddler and pickiness. As a general rule, they're all well nourished despite pickiness. Now there could be where you get on a spectrum where there's extreme pickiness or disorderly eating, and then maybe I could help with that. But as a general rule, 3 to 5 is the peak of pickiness, but it can extend through adulthood. So just hang loose about food and rules and keep your fingers crossed they grow out of it like you did. And that's the usual negative foods, is when somebody was forced to eat something. If anybody listening was forced to eat something, like, you're not leaving this table until you eat liver, I'm going to guess you don't eat liver, and I'm going to guess you don't serve your kids liver. So not only did you lose that customer, you lost a generation of Brussels sprout eaters or liver or whatever. So that never works. Forcing never works. Depriving ourselves of food never works, because usually willpower only lasts so long, and then when we fall off, we go in a big way, like, screw it, I'm going to eat whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. So again, it's just a really simple, middle of the road strategy where you present the food, you allow the kid to eat or not eat, you allow the kids to get seconds or not seconds. I mean, common sense, we're not going to eat 6 cookies, but you could say, oh, you could certainly enjoy that, but really, you don't want to put a lot of pressure one way or the other on anybody's kids. Do you guys remember the Snackwell cookie phase? You're all too young. It was like in the 1990s, where these cookies were made without fat. They were horrible. And they were the #1 selling cookie. They sold more than Oreos. And they pulled them off the market because they replaced fat with sugar. And as we know, you'd have to eat 6 to get full instead of 3. So all of these different gimmicks and products and marketing and Frankenstein foods just don't work like the original food.
Judy, to add to that, I have one that will eat all the vegetables and one doesn't enjoy eating all the vegetables. I think another big thing to do is to just make sure that the food environment is, which is essentially what you're saying, but like if you're serving at dinner 3 items that are very good and acceptable, then just keep presenting the good and acceptable to them. And hopefully, I know that's sitting right near me. Recently, I had served it was cauliflower rice. It was cheesy cauliflower rice, but it was cauliflower. And he ate it. And he has refused that for so long. And all of a sudden, he ate it and said he liked it. It wasn't that we pushed it. It wasn't. It was just keep offering the positive food environment.
Yeah, and that's what people kind of lose sight of. They'll think, oh, I'm never serving this food. I've tried, the kids don't eat it, and then that's off the table. But if you just keep serving it, I mean, look at the cultures around the world and the foods they eat. So it's just what's presented to the child time and time and time again until they can accept it and like it. So, and that's, I mean, that's just when you're lucky you have a good eater, because that actually is good peer pressure to the younger one. And just to give you an idea, Tori's my best eater now. She will try anything other than meat. She's a vegetarian. I had nothing to do with that, guys. But yeah, so you just keep your fingers crossed. I can't tell you when or if, but generally, the children do accept, their palate just keeps expanding and expanding as they get older. How about some other questions or comments?
I'll ask one. So the way that I guess choose to limit myself is there's certain things that I'll just never eat. So I'll never eat like Oreos or Doritos, for example. I just know if I start eating that stuff, I'll get addicted, because I was once addicted to that kind of food, and I don't want to be addicted again. But but eating sort of like just foods with a lot of sugar, a lot of fat, like cookies or cakes, I'm willing to do it if it's a special occasion. So if I've just completed the big exam and I'm out with my friends, then I'll be happy to indulge, or if it's a holiday, or if I'm back home, which I'm not home very often. And do you think that's sort of a good general rule for people to follow? Because I think that's sort of what we're all implying here when we say, Thanksgiving, you can relax a little bit, but do you think it's key to really, I guess, tell yourself that I'm only eating this because it's a special occasion, because it's Thanksgiving?
I agree with that. I agree with that totally. But it could swing either way. Like, oh, I'm only going to get these Italian cookies on Christmas, so I'm going to eat a dozen. So we don't want that. However, I 100% agree with what you said about Oreos and Doritos. Now, this is a shame. I do the menus for Head Start, and the kids love the walking tacos. And what I'll do Fritos, but they often send Cool Ranch Doritos, and they smash up the bag and they throw meat and cheese in it. And it's great for the kids. They love it. It's not great for the kids. Cool Ranch Doritos, look at the label. They are hyper palatable foods. And I think you mentioned Oreos too. Hyper palatable. You know what that means? They're freaking delicious. They light up the brain. And you even alluded to an addictive nature. I mean, did you ever eat an apple and say, oh my God, I got to have 8 more of those? Probably not. Did you ever eat a flaming hot Cheeto and say, oh, I need 8 more? Yes, because it just fires up the brain. So you're absolutely right in that thought. As for the Italian cookies, made with butter and sugar and then sprinkles on top and the great memories, those are not Frankenstein ingredients. It's not, it's just a very simple thing. And I would allow you to enjoy those because maybe you're right that I only got those cookies at certain times of the year, and I have nothing but fond memories of them. And they weren't made in a lab or by a biochemist to make my brain light up. It was made with love by my parents. So yeah, I totally agree with what you said. And, I'm not really villainizing Cool Ranch Doritos, but they are hyper palatable. That's all I'm going to say.
Judy, there's a great question in the chat, which I think can follow up well to the question you just answered. The question was, how can we like curb a sugar addiction? Somebody that has a really bad sweet tooth. What are some tips? What can we do?
Yeah, so I there's two trains of thoughts on that. So my sister, my daughter, my dad are described as that. I don't have that, and within my family, there's different ways to handle it. Sometimes it's almost like, gosh, this is gonna, don't take this out of context, but it's like a drug. Like once one of them has sugar, they want more and more and more, where the other one can moderate it. So, I do want to say all foods fit, and maybe just with mindfully allowing yourself a smaller piece of pumpkin pie, or not, a slice of pumpkin, pecan, some pudding, not going crazy, not totally restricted or not totally going overboard. Do little tricks like serve it on a small plate, because then it looks like a huge piece. Again, eat it mindfully and savor the taste. But understand that in a few people, it really lights up their brain and opens the pathway to wanting more and more. So if that indeed is a struggle, you might be best to limit it to mindfully limit it to special occasions. But if you could work in a little bit, like a friend of mine after dinner always has a little piece of chocolate, she goes, that's how I know I'm done with dinner. That's fine, So honestly, it's a very individualized thing, and it could go one way or the other, but you could mindfully work it in, or maybe you're going to have to restrict it. And then for a while, if it's opening up the floodgates. Here's the thing with sugar. We get a blunted taste of sugar and salt. And what I mean by that, if we eat really, really salty foods, we're going to add more salt to get the salty sensation. And the same with sugar. Like we throw in so much sugar and then we crave more and more. We could slowly back off and use, and I've done this with salt. Now that now my taste is more acute and I say, oh, that's salty. But when you back off, and the same could be with sugar, you can make lower sugar items and decrease the amount, because really, let's say if you dump a cup of sugar in, you could probably cut it to half, and it's still, you perceive it as sweet, because you can only perceive so much. So the sugar question, it's a paradox. It's very difficult. I know I didn't nail this answer, but it's individualized. I don't have a cookie cutter answer, no pun intended, but you just want to kind of know your body, know what it does to your body and your mindset, and rethink it.
Judy, do you mind if I talk a little bit about my experience? Because I just wanted to say I was once addicted to sugar. I mean, I fully admit that. Like all of the bad food that you mentioned, I ate all of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just remember in undergrad being totally addicted and totally dependent on that kind of food. And it's really embarrassing and really humbling for me to admit it now, but I was addicted. And I think what really worked for me, and now I'm not addicted to it at all anymore, I barely eat sugar, is that I actually understood, what the sugar was doing to me. I'm of the mindset that, I'm of the mindset that the root of motivation is knowledge. So if you know what's going to happen to you if you do something or if you don't do something, that is the most powerful motivator that you can have. And so I actually started doing my own research and watching YouTube videos of doctors talking about sugar and how bad it is for you, and how really when it hits your body, it's processed more like a fat than a carbohydrate. And it was terrifying to me. Yeah, I'm really happy to say now that even though I don't really eat sugar at all, I get more enjoyment out of my food than ever, just because as I remember, so it was my birthday a few months ago, and I usually don't eat sugar, and I tell people that like I don't eat sugar at all, but that maybe I would for a special occasion. And so the question is, well, is the birthday a special occasion? I'm like, yeah, I guess. But and so what these two girls in our class did, they bought me a cupcake, which was super nice. And I don't know if that cupcake was just an amazing cupcake or if it just tasted amazing because I never eat cupcakes, but that was one of the most delicious things I've ever eaten. And so, there is a light at the end of the tunnel for sugar addiction. It is possible to reverse it. And
Yeah.
ultimately, if you can, you enjoy your food even more than when you were eating all of the most hyper palatable foods in existence.
Totally agree with what you said. Again, there's different variations of the sugar addiction, but I totally agree with it. And then by enjoying your food mindfully, having it in limited quantities, everybody wants to enjoy food. And today I have to go to another job, but afterwards my friend and I are going bike riding, and then we're going out to a Mexican restaurant. And I'll tell you why. Nothing tastes better to us than after we do a long bike ride and eat food. And so I want people to enjoy food mindfully, in moderation, with a few indiscretions aren't going to kill us. And if you're able to de-link those, like the brain lighting up from sugar, that then when you have it, you could very mindfully enjoy it. Like you said, it was delicious. And then again, you'll enjoy it down the road and down the road. So but it's not the constant bombardment and the brain lighting up and the sugars going high, being stored as fat, crashing up and down, up and down. So yeah, that there are many people like that, and many stories I hear like that. And I think you did the right thing, and knowledge is power, and non-judgmental. Just say, hey, this is what it's doing to my body. I don't like this. I don't like this feeling. I don't like to be comfortably stuffed. So instead of that, I'll do this. I'll wait 20 minutes and then eat some. So there's all kinds of things we can do non-judgmentally to improve our health and nutrition. I feel like I'm on a treadmill. Go ahead.
Oh, I just think this was such a great conversation today, Judy. So thank you so much for leading us today and showing us the beautiful place that you're walking out and motivating us to keep going. I know you were freezing this morning, so thank you for bearing with us.
I warmed up, and I was going to say, I feel like I'm on treadmill because I walked 10 yards up, 10 yards back because I was so afraid. I was talking on and on. I'm thinking, this is crickets. Nobody's answering me. And then Tria's message came through. And it was all capital letters. It said, turn around.
Well, good. I'm glad we caught you. So could you summarize your talk in like a couple sentences to wrap it up for us today?
Okay, full disclosure, I'm 100% Italian. I'm one of 7 kids. So you can only understand what food means to me and my culture, my profession's food, my background's food, everything. So I enjoy food. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy eating. Don't enjoy cleaning up, but that's, I think, what my husband's job is in this role. So I want everybody to enjoy food. I don't want people to eat with guilt or remorse. I don't want to spoil one bite of anything. I just want them to take some time, start a mindful practice, think ahead to the pitfalls. And, I always eat too much because of X, Y, and Z. Then figure out how to change X, Y, and Z. And maybe bring some food that you feel like you will really enjoy, start a new tradition, practice gratitude, drink lots of water, never show up overly hungry because we all make our worst choices then, and really enjoy the company, enjoy the food, enjoy the decorations, enjoy the music, and slow down and enjoy every bite. That's my holiday talk. Enjoy every bite.
I think that was great, Judy. We really appreciate you being here. And again, thank you so much to everybody for kicking off November, fall, and the holiday season with us. We have a survey that Megan just posted in the chat. We're trying to see how well this program is received. So if you wouldn't mind clicking on that link, maybe within the next day of listening to this talk, open up the link, fill out the survey. We just want to know who we're reaching out to on these walks and kind of what ideas you have about what kind of topics we can have in the future. So the link is there. Also, if you're in the chat room and you want to type who you are and where you're walking from. We're trying to see how far this program is reaching. So I see a lot of new faces and names in the meeting today. So thanks and welcome to our program. Our walks happen every 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, I believe it's November 20th, we'll have another walk again with Dr. Madison Humerick. Topic to be determined, but we hope to see you there again. Dress warm if it's cold outside, or get yourself on a treadmill, or do whatever you can to be active. So thanks so much, everyone, again, for joining us. We appreciate you being here, and I hope you enjoy your Saturday, and let's go Mountaineers.